Welcome to the David Bradley Show with your host, David Bradley.
Hey, everybody. How's it going today? I hope everybody is up and going to work and drinking their coffee and having a halfway decent morning. And if not, have a cocktail when you get home after work tonight and just chill out a little bit, will y'all? All right. So anyway, we're going to talk to a heck of a drummer, photographer, videographer, producer. You know what? There's so many damn things this guy does that I can't even keep track of the whole daggone list, and we're not going to, you'll figure it out. I mean, this guy's awesome. Anyway, everybody say hi to Mark Allee.
How is it going, David?
What's going on, brother?
Thank you for having me, my friend.
Well, I mean, long time coming.
Hey, you have a lot of mutual friends. It's really great to actually get a chance to see your setup. It's beautiful.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I mean, hell,
David Bradley does it right, everyone. Let me tell you. This guy does not mess around.
I try, but I'm hot. It's hot in here.
It's good. Gotta have the heat happening.
I don't know what's going on.
Yes, it's important.
Yeah, my air conditioner better not be going out. I can tell you that.
Oh no, we're about to hit like record temperatures for like life. In Nashville, coming this summer.
All kinds of stuff, man.
Right.
So you was born over in San Jose, California.
Yeah, I was born in San Jose, and then I moved to Petaluma. So I was like
Petaluma. What?
Petaluma. Okay.
Petaluma.
So San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
It's a great place to growing up. I have the most amazing friends. It's such a, oh man. So in 80, I was born, 1980. And San Jose, California is like south of the Bay. If you're
right.
San Francisco is like a central point.
Yeah.
Then San Jose is south, and then Petaluma is north.
So you was born actually in the era of Dogtown and when all the skateboarding and everything started.
Oh my gosh. It's funny you say that because I'm such a skating guy.
Yeah.
Back in when I was 14, I was an inline skater. Of course, back in the day, you had the inline versus skateboarding thing. And I was in the inline side of things, but that was a huge influence on me as a kid.
Yeah. Cause I think a lot of that stuff actually started out there.
It did.
It was wild.
Yeah, I'm starting a Bad Religion tribute.
Oh, cool.
So I'm all the theme of today for me. If I'm gonna encapsulate it is quit messing around with stuff that's gonna put crazy shit in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Do the things that you love.
Oh yeah.
Be passionate about that and just go for it and fuck everyone else.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Can I swear? Can I go openly swear on things?
Well,
I'll just keep it a little.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, I don't care.
Good. Anyway, point being is, back in, the San Francisco Bay Area, growing up there, that's where I basically got all my influences growing up around that. Actually, my next door neighbors, I'll remember as my earliest memory in San Jose was living next door to a skate ramp with a bunch of skaters and across the street from a biker gang.
Oh,
I remember going across the street and petting a boa constrictor that the guy had on his neck. And my grandparents at the time were so freaked out at my situation.
I can imagine.
And I was infatuated. I loved it. I grew up around some pretty cool stuff. And then they're like, oh, we got to get you out of this area. And it was San Jose. They moved us to Petaluma in 89. So I was born in 80, then 9 years, then 89 went to, Petaluma. And then
no boa constrictors, biker gangs.
No, that was suburban area in Petaluma. Petaluma's known for dairy, Lagunitas too. It's a home of Lagunitas if you're a beer guy. And so it's a great place to grow up.
Yeah, that'd been awesome. I think I want to, I don't know. I'm weird. I probably would have wanted to stay back there with all the action and the wild stuff.
Well, I grew up going back that eventually, I just put a post out in 94. I was skating all over the place. My friend Josh, who's a huge influence on me, his family. I would go away from my real family and go spend time at my influential parents, my surrogate parents, I call them.
Yeah.
They're my best friends and their families. Like my friend Josh, his dad worked for Industrial Light and Magic. Mm-hmm. So my earliest memory is watching him work on Ghostbusters 2 and Hook.
Oh God.
And background paintings and stuff like that.
See, that stuff I would have loved, man.
Oh my God. It was crazy. I mean, I remember he was working on the first Star Wars trilogy, the first three.
Mm-hmm.
Not the original three, but what it was Jar Jar Binks and shit.
Yeah.
And then going to his house and watching them come back from a Industrial Light and Magic picnic.
Yeah.
And getting an award for this or whatever. I mean, that was the influence, and learning about the Beatles and learning how to play guitar for the first time.
Right.
That influence was not in my homestead. It was across the street.
Right.
And I spent a lot of time there.
Oh, I can imagine.
So I'm very grateful for all of my friends in Petaluma for the biggest influences of my life creatively.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, our friend Joe, he told me, he was like, dude, he plays drums, he plays everything.
Well, not everything. I mean, I played guitar first, and then I learned drums later. So, I mean, like, I can go really into the nuances of my whole life story. But actually, what I did is I did an interview with Nashville Voyager, and I put like everything in there chronologically.
Yeah.
And I left out some things I wanted to redo it, but I haven't had time to do it. But yeah.
And that's where you learn kind of like, because when you're doing it and you're actually going through your day-to-day life and all that other stuff, and you're learning things and doing this and doing that, you don't really think about it. But when you sit down and you try to write it all out,
right,
and then did you have that, damn, I've done a lot of shit.
You know what? It's really, it is a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit. But the thing is, it's really great is that I just had enough, I guess, just, know-how to go and seek inspiration and be around influential people or people that were doing cool things.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't break out of my shell till high school, and I was doing choirs, like 5 choirs.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, like, I guess musically, when I was 5, I remember with my Walkman, rolling around to Huey Lewis Sports or Michael Jackson Thriller, or the Beach Boys. Kokomo was like a big influence,
Oh yeah.
And then like Little Shop of Horrors, the '80s soundtrack with Rick Moranis.
Oh, that was an awesome show.
Oh my God, just Steve Martin. I was younger, just a bad little kid. Mama noticed funny things out there. I shooting puppies with a BB gun. No, I just, and then rolling into, when I was in high school, getting into the Beatles and Pink Floyd and Rush and Deep Purple and all these great, classic rock bands. Yeah. And I was into 90s hip hop, as an early kid, Digital Underground was my favorite band. And
I'll say Rush. I wasn't really into Rush until I was probably 16.
Nice.
And because I was always, Kiss was the first band for me. It was just that,
Oh, yeah.
And I got in that rut where I was stuck. Just Kiss. It had to be Kiss. I only listened to Kiss. That's the only thing I ever wanted to listen to. And then I was over at my cousin's house, and he had this big old 4-door, I can't even remember the name of the daggone car, but it was a Plymouth, might have been a big old Fury.
Nice.
Big 4-door.
It's a big ass car.
Yeah, and my cousin was 17, 18, and he was one of those tech guys. He just, anything he touched, he could fix,
Right. Magic touch.
Yeah. So he had probably 15 speakers all in this car, all in the back. And he said, David, come here, man. You got to listen to this. And I'm like, what? And he put Tom Sawyer on by Rush.
Yeah.
And you could hear the drums and you could hear everything. And I was just blown fucking away.
Moving Pictures really started for me. That and different stages with his drum solo, which was in '96.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I'm wearing the Division Bell shirt. Mm-hmm. When I got into Pink Floyd, which changed my life, that leads to what my big projects right now. It was like after I got into Pink Floyd, Pulse like already have left.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. So my biggest regret is not getting into it maybe a month earlier, discovering it, and then going to see like Pulse, all the Division Bell tour.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of my biggest regrets. But anyway, it was what it was.
Yeah. But they put on a hell of a show though.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Actually, say Kiss, I became friends with Eric Singer because we mentored this young drummer named Alexi Poblete. And we did a thing with my friend Eric Seitz. He's actually going to be in town with Patti LaBelle right now
cool.
for rehearsals. And we did a thing called Next Great Drummer. Mm-hmm. And we did Sam Ash music stores around the country. Actually, one of my first trips to Nashville was one of those competitions.
Yeah.
And in our Vegas competition, this little 7-year-old girl comes up. Her name's Alexi Poblete. We're like, oh my God, this girl is like amazing. And she's 7, And then she grew up to do some amazing things, like working with like Ellen DeGeneres and getting on commercials and, just being a Filipino badass.
Yeah.
And she's from the Philippines. So just amazing stuff. But Eric is been a big influence on her and of course the world. And he's just the sweetest dude.
Yeah, he's an awesome drummer too.
Oh, come on, it goes without saying.
You know, and well, that's what was weird because a couple of shows ago, I did a interview. I don't know why I said interview, but anyway, I did a conversation with a guy, and I didn't think much about it. Mm-hmm. He was a drummer, you know, and I said, sure, I'll do it. You know, and my assistant started pulling all the info and everything on him, and I'm like, damn, this dude's done a lot of shit, man.
Yeah.
And he's one of those, and that's one thing that always killed me, because you have very few drummers that are household names.
Right. You think about it, it's only them that come to mind.
Yeah. But this dude started, one of his friends was Buddy Rich. And a lot of people ain't heard of him, and his name was Vincent D. Wow. Still sponsored by Ludwig.
It's awesome.
Zildjian. All these people. He did, he played the drums on that song, The Curly Shuffle.
Really?
Yeah. He was the drummer for The Curly Shuffle.
Wow. I'm not too familiar with that.
Yeah, and see, a lot of people are not familiar with him.
Yeah, I don't think
but when he started, that was back in the day when everybody was doing the dinner clubs.
Right.
The big band dinner clubs. He was playing drums on it, just kind of like what Buddy Rich did.
Nice.
But Buddy Rich had that oomph to get out front, had his own band,
right,
the whole 9 yards. But he was just, I love unsung heroes, man.
Right. Big time.
You know, and this dude was like, to me, after going through everything, he would play, you know, played with Tim McGraw, John Michael Montgomery.
Yeah.
Played with a bunch of them. I think drummers really are overlooked.
You know what? I think that was the case. And I think it is in mainstream audiences, but in our little world, it doesn't seem like the case.
Yeah.
But always like, you know, we're up our own butts, man.
Yeah.
Once you get out of your own butt, you start to see everything else. You know what I mean? But drummers are badasses because we have to be, because we get shit on a lot sometimes. Yeah. And taking it back to what really got me going with this whole new world I've created for myself and with these projects that I've been doing, started back in the great equalizing time of 2020, you know.
Oh yeah, the equalizing time.
The equalizing time, the great equalizer, because everyone had to shut the fuck up and get back to something to do. Like their egos got stroked for years, then that got taken away.
Well, so yeah, I was talking to a couple of other guests about
Humility,
that, and I told them straight up. I said, you know, and this is just the way I felt.
Right.
I think a lot of artists and bands forgot who the hell their fans were.
Right.
Who the hell put them there where they are?
Right. Humility.
And then that freaking COVID come, and it was like, oh shit.
Let me tell you. I'll tell you. Okay, so this is 2020 for me. First, I learned that Neil peered everyone peered.
Yes,
like peered plus. You know, don't go. Oh, not pert plus. Okay, peered. I say it again. He left us. I actually found out from Kathy Rich, of all people.
Yeah.
I'm friends with Kathy, that he died from the same brain tumor that
well, he'd been battling it for a while.
Same one as Buddy.
Yeah.
Like they had conversations, like, you know, Neil and Kathy about, you know, and Kathy told him that story, and that's why I found out at NAMM 2020. And then in May or March 4th, we got the tornado of 2020.
Right.
I was in it. If I did not go into the closet 2 seconds later, I would have had shards of glass cut me to shreds. Mm-hmm. And I've never experienced a tornado. I'm from California. I remember early on, getting my oil change, watching TV and seeing like catastrophe happen, like 2010, actually the flood of 2010 here in Nashville. I saw that and I was like, man, it sucks for them, man. And now here I am in Nashville and I experienced a fucking tornado. Mm-hmm. And then after that, 2 weeks later, COVID happened. So it was like wow, like what the fuck is going on? Right. Well, what I did is I noticed a lot of like pandemonium because no one knew what to do. You know, it was like, no one, you know, the story, everyone knows the story.
Yeah.
Point being is there's a lot of chatter, a lot of fighting, a lot of back and forth, a lot of bickering, a lot of this, that, and the other thing. Everyone was frustrated, pissed off. They took the rug right out of them. And they were like, their egos are gone. They're they have no choice but to be humble. What do I do? I can't go anywhere. I'm going to, shake this side or F the government, everything, all this stuff. So what I did is I said, all right, well, actually, a couple series of things. And I was with an artist at the time. I'll remain nameless. But, he wanted to do a gig and in Florida at the time of the height of COVID. And I was like, I don't know if that's the best idea. Okay, we'll get another drummer. Got a drummer. Guy did, he did great, man. You killed it. And then a couple months go by, or a month goes by later. I'm like, okay, so, when this gets back, are we going to start doing gigs again, or what's the plan? Oh, I don't know where my head's at, man. I think we're going to go with this guy. And I had that moment. If I had a meme that described it, would be Office Space, Milton. I'm going to set the building on fire.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my meme. I just couldn't have it. I was like, I was done. I was pissed. I was like, fuck this. What else do I offer this world? What can I do? What can I what can I do in this world? Drumming is just letting me down, but I love it. But the first thing I did is I locked myself in my room and I learned 7 Days by Sting note for note.
Yeah.
Okay. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to.
Yeah.
Right. My own personal project. And that I took that and I ran with it. Right. And I found out there's two different, there's two different recorded versions that have been out by 7 Days by Vinnie Colaiuta that are two separate drum tracks.
I didn't know that.
Two different drum takes. Yeah, you can just go compare different versions of it.
That's
and you'll
wild.
see what I mean. But I dissected it. Anyway, point being is, that was cool and everything. And then I started to go back to what else do I offer? What else? Teaching. Or I could try studio stuff. Everyone's trying to do studio stuff.
Yeah.
The teaching thing I've been doing just as long as about playing drums. I've done School of Rock, Rockstar Music Education, my own teaching practices. I've I've done drum coaching for actors too. Just going as far back really quick with the Runaways movie.
Yeah.
I had an audition set for this girl that was going to be the drummer in the Runaways.
Yeah.
And she was very cute, very cutesy. They ended up going with some a little more tomboyish, which was the best point for her.
Yeah.
But I trained her. And then this guy that was the Ringo for a remake of Yellow Submarine by Robert Zemeckis. And it got shelved. I was going to be the drum coach on that. So that was that. And then I was teaching celebrity kids like Tobin Bell from Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Tobin Bell I went to Malibu to teach. I did a lot of teaching stuff. Anyway, I was going back into my teaching repertoire and then learning about what it's going to take to live stream and learning how to live stream. And then I got into cameras and what you need to make your image quality good and the sound and all that stuff. And then I remember my years of being on movies and TV sets. I was in Alice in Wonderland 2010 with Tim Burton. Funny story about that. Tim Burton was in his black tent. We were extras, and we were the beheading scene of the Mad Hatter. It was a green screen with a bunch of cardboard cutouts of the characters and a big orange ball that represented Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And
it's amazing how they do that crap.
We were told to look. I'm going to go on tangents about this. I have a point where I'm getting to this. But anyway, point being, with the experience with Tim Burton, which was funny, I have to share it, is that we were told to look down at the mouse. The scene was you look down at a mouse and that's it. You just were told, just do this.
Yeah.
Not like anything else. So we said, action. And that's Tim Burton yelling action. And we're and then two guys next to me went look down like idiots. I'm and so I hear this, cut! And he runs. Tim Burton is running at us.
Yeah.
Pissed. Looks at us and says, "You're extras, not actors. Look down at the fucking mouse."
Oh, shit.
And then turned back around, ran towards the tent. And we're I'm looking at these guys. Tim Burton just ripped us a new asshole. Tim Burton. The legend, Tim Burton. Look down at the mouse, dicks. So that was that. And then I was on Sons of Anarchy. I was on a gurney for 2 hours with John Stamos, which we had a lot of in common with a guy named Michael Lloyd, who is a producer. He did the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, the Osmonds, the Cassidys. He worked with us with an original rock band I was in LA called Starving for Gravity. And then a bunch of exciting experiences. Lady Gaga music video. My next door neighbor was on her, principal dancer. My friend Wendy discovered her, got $7.6 billion for discovering Lady Gaga.
Wow.
All these experiences on TV sets and then doing stuff for bands, like doing behind the scenes videos on iMovie and all this stuff. And it took me back to learning I've never done video or don't even know much about video or anything. So let me learn. So I went on YouTube, and I've been I took the time, the great equalizing time to really study.
Yeah.
And I got a camera with my unemployment money, and Canon M50, and I was watching videos on how to learn it. The exposure triangle, the beauty of lighting, what 720, 1080, and 4K really means, editing softwares. I think I started off with Wondershare has a Filmora, and then I went from Filmora to Premiere, and Premiere to Final Cut to DaVinci Resolve. And then I started going deep, like you did with this setup, just deep. And just researched and learned. I learned about Peter McKinnon, who's a drummer actually, and he's a superstar guy. Went from like 0 to like millions of followers like really quickly. Everyone was really blown up. And then there's this guy named Parker Walbeck, and he's in Utah. I kept seeing his videos at the end as promos for other videos. And I was like, who is this guy? His lighting looks great. I'm like, I want to look like that when I'm doing my thing. Turns out he has a film course called Full-Time Filmmaker.
Right.
I was like, wow. And at the time, I went and researched him, and a guy, it was an Instagram account, turned out to be a scammer. Long story short.
Lovely.
I was taken in 2016 by scammers from Calcutta, New Delhi, and West Bengal. And I follow scam baiters pretty closely, so I'm really versed in this now. Anyway, point being is I got taken for money, and I want revenge. So I knew that when I looked at this Instagram account, and I reached out to Parker, who ended up not being Parker, and I said, listen, and I took a screenshot of what I thought was his thing, and then I sent it to the real guys. I was like, this guy's not you, is it? No, that's a scammer. Okay. So I went back and I wrote something like, you're fucked. I'm going to, do whatever I said. And he deleted the account. So I took a screenshot of the account that got deleted, sent it to the real guys, and said, listen, I got rid of this scammer for you. And he's like, oh my God, that's great. Thank you. Like, yes. I hate these scammers. Fuck them.
I can't stand them. Man.
Yeah. So he said, well, have you seen our course? And I'm like, yeah, but it's like $900, And he's like, I think it was Landon, by the way, was the other guy. And he was like, well, how much can you afford? I'm like, I don't know, like $50.
The scammer got the rest, man.
And then he's like, done. And so I got this film course on top of the YouTube video thing. And I delved into that. Anyway, I got enough gall and experience to put together or try to put together a video. So my first video was for a company called Blister Hot Sauce. Jeremy Blister and his brother have this great hot sauce. It's you can get it in Nashville area, Blister Hot Sauce. And then I did a video for them. Free to fee was the name of the game. Like you do something to prove that you can do it, and then build a portfolio, and then eventually start to charge for it. And now here I am today. And I just did a project with the Artemis Pyle Band. I did a photo shoot with Desmond Child and Alice Cooper.
Awesome.
Those photos are going to be released, I hope, soon. Desmond.
I love Alice Cooper. I've never met him personally.
So cool.
But
I
mean, dude, if you follow him and you look at his whole career and everything he's done, he's about the most honest, down-to-earth guy I have ever seen on paper.
You know what? He told me he was with Liza Minnelli, and before that was Raquel Welch. And I was like, where did that come from? But he shared that with me. I was like, that's amazing. And then we listened to him do Bed of Nails. I think it's Bed of Nails. That was called Bed of Nails.
I don't remember.
I can't remember. But anyway, I was listening to him record it for some reason Desmond was recording him. I was listening. But anyway, all these great things that have been happening, I've been trying my best to do the best I can with what I have and learn and just tell stories, and then do things that I love, like my Pink Floyd project, and things that I have control over, things that I want to do. And thanks to Tim and the guys from Tattered Sons, who are playing next week, opening up for the original lead singer of Saving Abel at Hog Rock, I think is what it's called. And then the band Firepower that Tim also leads, it was because of him I got into Tattered Sons, because I was in Firepower, and having him be a guy that believes in me is great, because I've given up putting my energy into artists and bands that will eventually just shit can me. And I know I have more to offer, and I've always done logos, I've always done flyers, I've always done artwork and videos and stuff. I want more to life than just what one thing is. I mean, it started for me with like Bob Ross and William Alexander doing paintings and stuff. And I have an analogy that kind of encapsulates everything.
Dude, I remember sitting and watching some of him, just his little show and his little paintings. And I'm just like, I didn't even care about the commentary.
Right.
Just the way he done things and the way he worked a brush.
Oh, dude.
And I was just like blown away by what he could create.
I wanted that fan brush so bad. So like, but you know, his influence was William Alexander.
Yeah.
Now, William Alexander is, I think is from, I'm trying to remember where he's from. But anyway, point being is he was the guy. He's like, every time I go here, I want to do, anyway, that sounds Indian. That's wrong accent.
I don't know.
Anyway, point being is, I'm going to stop with the accent. He was super influential on Bob Ross. But anyway, point being is, I'm going on tangents because I do that. But
that's okay.
The whole thing is, the common denominator is passion and being driven to do what you want to do. Okay. So a lot of these things spawn from what? What do I do now? But do I sit and I bitch? Do I moan? Do I go and be a part of the chatter? Or do I sit and I really analyze about my life and where I want to do my goals, my aspirations, my dreams, my influences? And do I just sit on my butt or do I do something about it?
Yeah.
I thank not having any drugs or alcohol since I was 18 in my body or anything to take away from my mental state. And all I have is sheer passion and vigor and piss and vinegar to do the things I've always wanted to do. Because I've either been, we all have battle scars.
Oh yeah.
But the battle scars don't need to be taunted and infect everyone else around you. They fuel you and that's it. And then you just shut up and you just do great things and you achieve and do stuff that you've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's all about who, just the sheer guttural like influence and fire, the proverbial fire underneath your ass that doesn't go away. It just keeps burning.
Yeah, because me and two friends, we always talked on the phone because I drive truck, and we always were on the phone during the day,
Right.
And Thomas, he was in done a movie, These Streets We Haunt, and he's friends with the director, and they formed their own company, Omada Films, and put out this movie. And he drives truck too. So he's one of the guys I was talking to. The other guy, Eric, he did a voiceover and he did, extra walking in one of the scenes, he was an extra in it. And, I told him, I said, it'd be cool if I could find something like that,
Right.
And then they were just like, well, dude, you've got this voice, man, do something with it. And I'm like, okay.
It's a great voice.
Well, I appreciate it. I hate it, but anyway.
Of course you do, because it's your voice. It takes God to me to tell you it's good, but yeah.
And they just kept saying, well, why don't you do voiceovers? Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that?
Right.
And then I guess about a month later, Thomas popped up and he said, what about a podcast, man? Have you thought about a podcast? Rogan does one. This is, everybody's getting into it. Well,
Thank
why
you,
don't
Howard
you try
Stern, for the archetype in which we all follow.
Oh yeah. And that's when I got to, like you, I had to hold up. I YouTube how to, I just 6 months, dude,
Totally get it.
deep into it.
Isn't it great? Look where you are now.
It was like a thrill just to figure out give me more knowledge.
Right. You're hungry.
Yeah. I was starving for it.
Nothing mattered but that hunger that you had. Right.
That's it. I went to work. I come home.
Right.
Got something to eat.
Right.
And I was eating on the couch while I'm watching.
Damn right.
And the plate would sit there until I got ready to go to bed.
Right.
And I was totally into it.
Yes.
And then I started building and I started looking, and then the videos don't tell you everything.
No.
I've got to put that out there.
You're right.
The how-to videos don't show you everything because you got legalities. You've got all kinds of different things you've got to do.
Yeah.
And you can't stay focused on one how-to podcast.
No.
You've got to look at the whole spectrum.
Right.
How to video, how to do this, how to do that. And that's how I come up with this setup. I work my ass off.
Yeah. And you've learned through process of elimination. You've learned from, trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of these guys that one of the things about the YouTube videos is they're trying to get views and trying to get awareness of what they do.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that they try to cover all bases, but they don't really know until you really kind of experience it yourself.
Right.
Right. And that's par for the course.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of it is, they want to help you.
Right.
But secretly, you think, do you really want to help me?
That's part of it. They want to help you, sure. Yeah. They want to help you, and they want to make they want to make themselves be the beacon of help.
Right.
And they want to revel in that. Look at the influence that I got on this dude.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing right here. I'm going to get those views. I'm going to get my monetization. I'm going to get all that stuff. It's just it's just what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone does it. We're guilty of it. We're all whores. We all want to get ourselves recognition. And two phrases I live by, David, is I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
That's the phrase.
Oh yeah.
Right. Just look as contrast around you as examples on how to be a decent human being or not, or what to do things right or do things wrong. And then the second one is I get outside of my own ass really quick.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't take myself too seriously, and I also don't give myself too much ego stroke where I'm totally too much about my own self-consumption, not about what I'm actually dishing out.
Yeah.
And everything I do, I try to make sure it's clear that it's okay, I will talk a lot. I will be perceived as a sellable, used car salesman. One girl told me when I was on a date. I'm not a used car salesman, but I see what you're getting at. But I'm coming from a really good standpoint here. I'm coming from great intentions. But I'm also trying to let you know that I'm not taking myself too seriously, and I'll shut myself down quicker before you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's humility, right?
Yeah, it's all about it.
It's when you have some humility, and you have an open mind, and you also know that you're also of service to everyone around you. It's not just you. You're always trying to do something for someone else. In a sense, I've been thrilled and thankful for the great people in my life that have done something. Shout out to Michael Berg, for instance, and my friend Jason Dennekamp, from my lifetime friend, and all these people that I can name, Josh Summers, all these people that are big influences that have given me something. And now whatever I can do to give back, what I love about being in the opposite side of the camera, so to speak, because I've been a professional drummer for years, and I now can have my cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Because now I can serve the people that I've been for myself for years, and I know what they want, and I get to give back to them. Like a great photo shoot or a great video shoot, and having them have something that they can take and remember themselves by is a great way for me to give back, and I take pride of it. So if I do a photo shoot, they want typically you'd give out maybe 20 photos for a couple $100 or something, right? I give them 200. Here's a shit ton for you. Have fun, but tag me or I'm gonna tag myself. I'm just credit where credit's due.
And I totally get that, because in a lot of ways, me and you are on the same level, because the whole reason I started this show, I was bored. I needed that creative outlet.
Right.
And my years of being in and out of the music industry, doing lights and sound, dude, you know just as well as anybody, you get shafted, do shows for free,
right?
And you're standing at the end of the line at the next gig, waiting for the payout, and you get the 50 cents while everybody else got, whatever they got,
right?
And I was just like, I want to give back.
Right.
I want to have it where I can do something. People can be heard.
Yeah.
Especially some of these new ones coming in, singer-songwriters, all this stuff.
Giving them an outlet.
Instead of...
You get to do it.
Instead of giving the sharks pieces of the meat, they can come in here and sit down and just have a conversation, hopefully learn something. Hopefully somebody else learns something.
Right. You're doing it to me. Who the fuck am I? But you're giving me an outlet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a great thing you're doing, and it's a beautiful thing. You're doing it from the best of your heart.
Yeah.
And that everyone relates to that.
Oh yeah.
And that's what people gravitate towards.
Yeah.
But
you also got to watch out for the other ones that they just want to take advantage of.
But you can smell it a mile away.
Oh God. Yeah, I can.
Let's put it this way. And ladies and gentlemen at home, I'm sure you should feel like this or should be aware of this, is that you just got to be a human, operate from human sensibilities, and you will be okay. The minute you take yourself out of the human element and you subject yourself to whatever the hell you're being enabled by, that is not human element-esque, you're going to come out like a sore thumb and people are going to see it a mile away.
Oh,
so
yeah.
don't think you're fooling anyone.
Oh, yeah. They fool themselves more than they do other people.
Of course. We're in a world of that right now. You know what? And that's the thing is like that's why people gravitate toward guys like Gary Vee, who's just like, shut the fuck up and just, quit getting down on yourself and just do something with your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, so passion elements of things that like you want to do. Like I stopped giving more into people's projects. I do that now still, but I have my own projects now.
Yeah, you got to pay attention to yourself too.
You have to give yourself something, and then you can give others too. It's like take the mask. If you're falling from a plane, you got to give yourself oxygen so you can give.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. And like my Pink Floyd project is something I've always wanted to do.
Oh, dude, and you've been killing the hell out of it, man.
So ever since I was a kid, I was a Pink Floyd fan, starting from like 95, where my friends would, I haven't drank or smoked anything since I was 18, right? But I was from 14 to 18, getting high, just smoking weed, really, all the time. And I did like opium was the hardest thing I did in mushrooms.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was placed in front of a sofa, and my friends thought it would be funny. Take the two big ass speakers and then like put the intro to Time and Money on and like scare the shit out of me. Right. And I was like, oh, what is that? Like, and I thought that's a band. Like, are they playing that with their instruments? It turned out there were money sounds and actual sounds from, anyway,
cash registers and everything else.
Samples. And then there was a laser show that was in San Francisco. It was in the Embarcadero. It was the Wall.
That came to here.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Oh my God. So this is all tying into this. So I went on my friend Josh says, I don't know if you were high. I know we ran out and you had to smoke this or whatever. And I'm like, well, maybe I did. I don't remember, but I do remember being really emotionally driven. I probably was like, I got some of it. And I remember crying. I was so emotionally involved. And this is the one moment where my life changed. I saw a version of Empty Spaces and Into What Shall We Do Now. Now, if you watch The Wall, if you have the Wall album, What Shall We Do Now is not on the album. It's actually in the movie. To buy a new guitar and to drive a more powerful car, right? That whole thing. And that segue was in the movie. But at the time, the technology, like you didn't have the movie version. Like you had it like on a bootleg somewhere, but I don't think they had acquired it. So instead they got the version of Roger Waters' The Wall 1990, where it was live in Berlin with a bunch of guest star singers. And Bryan Adams was the one that sang that part.
Yeah.
It's like, what shall we do to fill the empty spaces and buy a new guitar? Like that whole voice of Bryan Adams was that section. And I remember watching that song with lasers and listening to it and my life just going, oh my God, I love this band. And then for my 16th birthday, I got The Wall, Dark Side of the Moon, and Metal. And my influence with Pink Floyd has always been something where you always go back to the things that drive you no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
I would play Comfortably Numb in my studio and cry. Like, you know what I mean? Like be really emotionally driven by that solo. And that's one of my favorite songs of all time. And when I was on Broadway doing gigs, my friend Benjamin and I remember at Crossroads, which is now gone. It's going to be something else. Me and Benjamin and this guy Jack were we all played together. It was a 3-piece, and we busted into Learning to Fly, the live version from Pulse, and we all knew that version. I knew the ending drum solo, like, and we all landed. I have it on my YouTube, one of my YouTubes, and it was like a moment capsulated in time where like we just stopped and paused. And then we just erupted with, holy shit, that was amazing. Yeah. Right. And so I was like, oh my God, this is great. And that, like, just playing that on stage was euphoric. And then later on, a few years later, we played Bowie's with this band called 369. And we just did the intro to Shine on Your Crazy Diamond. And I looked at Benjamin and I'm like, bro, we're doing a Pink Floyd tribute. I'm calling it Domine. And we're fucking doing it, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And I did it. Here we are now. I have this amazing 8-piece band. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I learned always known Nick Mason's one of my heroes. If you see, I'm wearing a Nick Mason mustache. Like I actually shave it off after every show, and I grow it before each show.
Yeah. That's way it's fresh.
Right. So I said, well, if we're going to do Pink Floyd, we're doing it right. And for me, Pink Floyd is encapsulated everything that I'm passionate about. Visually, audibly, everything. So Gerald Scarf and Storm Thorgerson were huge influences. Their artwork and album covers and stuff were like
they were phenomenal, man.
And I'm just like fixated on that as far as my influence. And then Pink Floyd's music is always, it's like all the influences of today for Pink Floyd has been like on YouTube for these reaction videos for Gen Z and millennials listening for the first time going, oh my God, and watching their minds blow. That was me when I was 15, 16.
Yeah.
And I relate. And now I get a chance to do that with this band. And the visual aspect of things, I got a custom projection screen that was custom made from a guy named Darren Evans, D Blacksmith Medal of Honor. He helped make that dream a reality. I put out on Facebook, I'm like, who does metal work? You know, and he's like, hey, you know, I do. And I'm like, oh, dude, we met back at the Music City Drum Show. And dude, let's do it. So we got together. I sent some drawings of what I was thinking. I'm like, just do Pulse 95, man. Let's look at that screen. And he built one out of aluminum. And then I had to get material, and I'm like, how are we going to sew it in a circle? I went to 7 different seamstresses in Nashville until I found the one that actually did it in a circle.
Yeah.
That was hard. I found it. I made that happen. I'm like, how am I going to do lights and visuals, line them up? I was asking and researching, and asking people that have done it, and like churches do that all the time. Like, how do I do this? Well, Ableton Live is going to be your best bet. Okay, everything's got to be a track, so I have to have tracks, and then it's going to connect with lights with Ableton. And then I get light key. Okay, I'll get that program. Anyway, point being is I learned how to do lights, and I programmed the lights to go with all the different movements of the songs.
Yeah.
So because I know it so well, and I charted them all out, and twice even, you know, just to make sure I got every nuance where like a cymbal is hit without a bass drum, like to that degree.
Yeah.
And then I know that whoever listens to my band, they'll know when they pull out the record, if they listen to it and follow me, they'll see that I'm going exactly note for note. I read it, everything, because I want it that perfect.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you know, learning all those different skill sets was really important. And I finally did it, and everything is all synced up. And then I thought about marketing, because what is the one thing that will definitely get people's attention and they have never seen before? Dark Side of the Moon with the Wizard of Oz with a live band.
Oh yeah.
In 99, I went to the Academy of Art College in San Francisco from 99 to 2003. And I remember seeing an advertisement, and this was, so I got into Floyd in 95, and in 99, I saw this advertisement for the Wizard of Oz light show. Oh, get tickets now. And I went and got it, and I saw it, and I was like, that light show, lasers were like incredible.
Oh yeah.
Now going back into the marketing, I was like, okay, no one's seen a live band do the Wizard of Oz with synced up with Dark Side of the Moon. I always wondered about it.
Yeah.
And why that came about. It's been debunked by the band. It was not intentional.
Yeah.
It happened and started rumor in 95. And then it started to dictate, everyone started to like gravitate and go, what is this?
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon with Wizard of Oz. And so we do that as our first set. And then
Awesome.
the second set, we start with Astronomy Domine. Now, Domine is taken from Astronomy Domine. 1967, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, Syd Barrett, you know, the first debut. It was recorded next to the Beatles doing Sgt. Pepper at Abbey Road. Okay. So that, I had to talk about the history of Pink Floyd from Syd Barrett era on, and the lords of my life have been Pink Floyd, and Domine means lords in Latin.
Right.
So Domine is one word. It sounds powerful, sounds badass. Maybe people want to pronounce it. That's okay, because the diehards will know what I'm talking about, and that's what it's for. It's for the diehard fans. It's for fans like that, and that's what I am.
Well, that's what I noticed too with something that you did with this, which I thought was very unique. You're not playing like small clubs. You started doing theaters with this stuff, man.
Exactly right.
And that was just like, I sat back, and me and Joe actually had a talk about that. And I was just like, dude, my hat's off to that, because you're telling people straight off the bat, we're not average.
No.
We're doing the theater. And with all the lighting and everything, you need that theater space.
You need the intimacy.
And that is awesome. It is unique, and I applaud the hell out of that.
Thank you. Now, let me tell you about this, how that happened. Okay. So obviously Pink Floyd, you don't mess around with Pink Floyd. One thing Pink Floyd and Rush have taught me in my career as a musician is quality and a level that you just got to be at and above.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful. And I hope people do understand that these bands not only are great bands, but they give you quality of everything. So Pink Floyd, there's millions of Pink Floyd bands. I know this. I don't care because I want to do my own and I want to do it the way I vision it. And then you just get shut around the doubt. And that's another thing is there's a lot of things that exist. Yeah. But if you're passionate about it and you want to do it, just do it and don't ignore all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And so I did a couple promo videos at the Mockingbird Theater.
Yeah.
And Brian, who's a great guy, I went and I pitched it to him. I'm like, dude, I have a Pink Floyd project and we're doing Dark Side of the Moon with the Wizard of Oz. Would it be something that you would be do our debut show at? And he's like, absolutely, would do that.
Yeah.
I was like, my networking connections and how I do things have always been kind of a skill set. I remember my friend Gianluca Palmieri, who plays for Greg Howe when we were at Musicians Institute. And I can go on tangents about like the greatness I was surrounded by at Musicians Institute. Let me tell you. Another one's Anderson Pock, who's Breezy, by the way. Shout out to Breezy if he ever hears this. We won't, but congratulations.
Hey, you never know.
Anyway, point being is, he told me, he's like, man, you're really good at the networking thing. And I was like, I guess it's natural, really. I just know how to talk to people and be real and not be a douchebag.
You just got to be an honest person is all you got to be.
Right. So anyway, point being is I've always had that. So I use that to my skill set as getting this off the ground. So we did our first show, and let me tell you, I was nervous as hell, but how it was going to go down. The projection screen was made because I went to the venue and I knew that they had a backwards projector because I don't have money for a projector. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the projector goes a certain distance for the screen they have at that theater, because it used to be a movie theater.
Right.
And so Mockingbird in Franklin. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to have to make a circular aspect ratio. So obviously all the visuals that I put together, which if you see my show is a nod to the history of Pink Floyd through tons of different clips that I pulled from different places and made my custom visuals to go along. So I do the visuals, I do the lights, I put together the band, I do the drums, and I have a whole vision of where I want to meld this in the future, and that's coming soon. And I measured where the distance is from the projector to the screen and how big the circle was going to be. And then I measured the circle. And then I took the circle measurements, gave it to Darren. And I was like, Darren, okay, so there was a 7 feet 4 inch viewing surface, and we have to make like maybe an 8 foot truss or something. So we had to like really figure it out. And I took those dimensions and I really prepared everything. So the day of the show, November 5th, 2022, we had 89 people show up for this gig, our first gig ever, and the proof of concept. And we did, again, Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety. Let me tell you, David, if you've ever, and I'm sure the first podcast and recognition you got from this was one of those moments, where you just walk on stage, or in my case, on stage, and see an applause, a roar of applause of the thing that you did, and the fact that you did it right.
Yeah.
That was one of the most emotional experiences of my life. I really was like, oh my God, we did it. Right. And I'm grateful for all my band members, for it. So anyway, get emotional. The fucking thing happened and I was pumped, and we went from 86 people or 89 people or something like that. Anyway, point being, it looked full. Since I'm a professional videographer now, I have the camera equipment. I gave a video guy my camera equipment, and I said, take video and I will edit. And then my friend William, who's an amazing photographer, shout out to William McClintock, he took some photos, and I'm like, dude, can you give me the raw photos? I know it's a lot to ask. He's like, yeah, man, well, for you, I'll do it. He trusted me, and I'll make sure he got credit and everything. So I got the content I needed. I made a website. I did everything you can do from a first show. And then our second show, I met this guy named John Salloway. Thanks to Troy Laketta, he was formerly in the band Tesla, for introducing me to John Salloway. I was at Troy's house, and John was doing some recording stuff for a guy named K-Riz, he's producing right now. Troy's producing. Yeah. And I told him about my Pink Floyd project. I showed him the video I made for it. And he's like, dude, yeah, I think I can get you on like City Winery. I'm like, really? So he got me in City Winery.
Awesome.
And then we went from 89 people from one show to 245 people, and they came all the way from Pennsylvania, David. They came from they came from all over the place. I found out the show we just did at the Mule House, which was the third show, they came all the way from California just to see the band. I've seen this grow, and it's Pink Floyd. It's a proven fact that people, if you go see a good Pink Floyd band, it's going to draw.
Yeah.
And that's partly why we're doing so well so quickly, is because, but I feel like we're doing it right.
Yeah, and that's the whole process. I mean, if you do, with all the research and building this and building the lighting and doing all that stuff, and you're doing it the way it should be done. And I'm not knocking the other bands that, I'm not.
Interpretations of it too.
Yeah, it's their interpretation. Yeah. But when you're doing something that is so dead on, because Pink Floyd played maybe 1-2 shows a year,
and quite frankly, they were loose when they were playing. But that's Pink Floyd; they can do that.
And but to go see something that is of a good quality product, well put together, visually stimulating,
it's experience.
Makes the hair stand up on your arms, man.
Man, that moment, and when I see Floyd bands and they don't do it like they should. Like the best Pink Floyd band out there is Brit Floyd, and they started from remnants of Australian Pink Floyd show. The guys left there and started Brit Floyd, and they're sanctioned by Roger and Dave. They're and my friend Randy's playing with them right now.
Awesome.
And this is still the archetype which I follow for quality. But I know one thing. Drummers in those bands are awesome.
Oh yeah,
but they're not doing what I'm doing. I say that humbly because I notate every little teeny movement, and I follow like mannerisms of him. I do a lot of things that I do my own thing with it, but it all comes down to the songs are the influences for those guys, or for life itself. The recordings are what people have left. So those are the things in their brain when they're watching a Floyd band they want to hear. Yeah. So I try to emulate that experience because that's what I would want.
Well, yeah.
So you have to be a fan first of a tribute before you can do one, obviously. And I knew so wholeheartedly what to do with Pink Floyd, and I knew that I wanted to do it best I can. We're still working on it and getting even better and ironing out kinks. And we're only 4 shows in, so our latest show is at the Palace Theater in Crossville, Tennessee, on July 15th. So, and then after that is the Franklin Theater, August 19th,
right,
which is amazing. And then after that is the Park Theater in McMinnville, Tennessee, on September 1st.
Yeah,
all the stuff, NashvillePinkFloyd.com.
I actually plan on going to the one in Franklin on the 19th.
Please, that's going to be a monumental one for us.
Yeah, because I love Pink Floyd.
Oh,
always have.
I love this. I love it every time I play it.
The first album I got of them was The Wall.
Of course.
And then I was jazzed, had to see the movie.
Oh, the movie.
The
movie. I love the movie, actually.
And I don't. I ain't gonna lie. There was a time in my life, one time, I actually felt the same way he did.
Right.
Staring at the mirror. It's like you just wanted to fucking peel everything off.
Oh, bro. I had that moment in 97, 98.
I think a lot of people have. They just couldn't. But I knew when I seen that dude in that movie felt the whole. I mean, it connected me.
Bro, me too.
I mean,
I
it
didn't
was
think
wild.
about that till now. You just brought that up.
Yeah.
I gave up drinking and smoking on New Year's Rockin' Eve with Dick Clark.
Yeah.
97 going into 98 after getting really high. Drinking Jack Daniels. My friends were having sex in my parents' bedroom. It was a pandemonium in my house. I threw a party.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll never forget it. And I was like, whoa, I feel like complete shit. I went into the bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror. And the mess of a person that I was in front of me. Remember, when I was drinking and getting high or whatever, drinking was never really a big thing. It was always smoking. I was always the pitiful guy in the corner, which no one really cared about in my brain, And then peeling back the skin, like, Pink did in the movie, or Bob Geldof, who hated Pink Floyd, actually. And he actually, anyway, the story.
But he did an amazing job, man.
Hell yeah, Bob Geldof. And then that moment where, like, you just say, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
that resonated with me, just like you probably it did for you in different ways. But yeah, that just now, just putting that together, that's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, because I had gotten to that point in my life where I was just like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Right. We all come there.
Yeah, I think everybody does.
Right.
And then to see Bob in that movie just stand there in front of that mirror and just start shaving his freaking head, and then he's doing the eyebrows and just it's like
he turns into like, Rush, and then turns out this like dictator guy.
Yeah, he just comes out, and I'm just like, but that one moment, that was a pivotal moment for me in that movie.
Me too. I didn't really realize until you just brought it up.
Yeah.
Because it really is pretty great. But the thing is, we shed our skin like snakes. I love snakes, by the way. If you ever on YouTube, check out a guy named Chandler's Wildlife, and Tyler Nolan. They're like the guys that just are passionate about animals, and they're millions of views on YouTube just to showcase their love of animals. Anyway, point being, snake sheds its skin. Humans shed their skin all the time. We're constantly re-evolving, reinventing.
Yeah.
So when shit hits the fan, you just stop and just evaluate and offer what you have. And like, the whole photo video thing, going back to that, was now I have this great outlet. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm fulfilled everything I can be creatively, and doing the things I want to do. Like this Bad Religion tribute I want to put together, and I started it called No Control. It takes me back to the skater punk 14-year-old self,
right? Watching
Dare to Air and The Hoax and the whole inline craze, and just skating ramps and the dum 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 dum, and listening to Green Day, Primus, and Smash Mouth, or not Smash Mouth, Smash by Offspring. And then going back to those moments, it's like all because I've always wanted to do it. I'm doing it. And everyone has the ability to do whatever they want. And we're in tribute band land now. So it's kind of par for the course.
Well,
everyone has a tribute band.
Back in the day, though, it's like I was talking to Nikki Stringfield, and she was saying she didn't really understand the whole tribute thing until she got out in California. And California was big in tributes.
Big time.
But my cousin Jody lives in Chicago. And I go up there every now and then and hang out with him. Tribute bands are huge up there. Yeah. The last time I was up there was a tribute band, and it was AC/DC, and they were rocking it, man. I mean, the lead singer, they were doing everything Bon Scott.
Awesome. Like authentic Bon Scott.
Oh, authentic Bon Scott.
Always bouncing from the left and to the right.
That's it. Yeah. And the dude sounded just like him.
I can even hear it.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. And I was just up there jamming out, drinking a Miller Lite, going, hell yeah.
Yeah. You know why tribute bands are so needed? Okay. And this is my theory. Okay. We're seasoned professionals, guys that are in their age groups past, Gen Z, millennial, all that. You're seasoned professionals. You're not old. You're getting better all the time. Remember that. Us seasoned professionals have been around the block a little bit, and we know good music. The influence of, it's our job to influence the youth of like really great music.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of bands have kind of like been the influence of these people growing up in certain age groups. The music is not that fantastic. It's good. It influences you, whatever floats your boat and makes you passionate. Cool, all about it.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, the music quality is not of certain bands of the genres that we're talking about here. And why we pay tribute is because there's a lack and a need to go back to the greatness of music. Mm-hmm. And the tribute bands enable people to learn about the real bands and demonstrate good quality music.
Oh yeah.
And the kids in School of Rock and Rockstar Music Education and all these different, they're actually listening to these bands and being influenced. So as these kids are getting older, like there's a girl named Grace Bowers, for instance. She's my keyboard player, Brandon Lucas, is one of her teachers, actually one main teacher, and she's doing amazing things. So if you look at Grace Bowers, she's a guitar player, shredder. I think she's working with Nancy Wilson of Heart right now. And anyway, she's influenced by these great bands. And my when I taught this little amazing kid at the time named Owen Rivera, how to play drums, but he was not only a drummer, he was a guitar player. He was 5 years old and a voiceover actor.
Awesome.
He was in Super Wings until his voice went too deep and his brother Braylix took over. Anyway, I was teaching him at 5 years old how to be a drummer, and he was just like, now he's a bilingual, like superstar in the making, 15 years old, like has a 7-album deal with Curb Records. And he's like one of the most incredible artists. And he started with these amazing influence. He dressed up like Kiss. Like he dressed himself as 5 years old. Like the parents had no influence. It was him. I want to wear that outfit. Looks like, like Eric Singer from Kiss, and he would like have these outfits, and I have these pictures on my Instagram and stuff from years back.
Oh
and
yeah.
I bring these amazing young, at the time, influences up because they were influenced by these great bands that we're now paying tribute to carry the torch, because these bands are not going to tour anymore after. They're not, well, most of them are trying, but they're going to be gone. The legacy of these bands have to be prevailed. And I think the reason why these bands aren't suing every single band out there, including, my band, because they want, and I know this, they want to carry the torch of the music.
Yeah. I mean, the music must carry on.
It has to. For different generations. That's why they're championing it.
And you know what's funny about all of this? And this is just my mind, the way I think.
Right.
Okay. You got the tribute bands.
Yeah.
They're all copying the older bands.
Right.
That were all recorded without Pro Tools.
Yep.
The reel-to-reel.
Right.
The ADAT. And that was back when the music was warm.
Right.
Personable.
Right.
And by God, it had heart.
Yes. Soul. You did thousands of takes until you got it right.
Yeah.
Not do it in Pro Tools. That conversation is so exhausting. I understand. But here it all goes. And even in filmmaking, like I try to emulate film. And that's backwards. We're digital. Things can be, no one wants to see every pore of their face. Okay.
No, especially not in certain movies.
No. Right. So I shoot 4K. Yeah. But I try to I use a diffusion filter of 10% to make sure the highlights are softened, the skin's softened.
Yeah.
I go into my editing software and I add halation and I add grain and I add things that look like film, because if you look backwards and look forwards, everything is emulated. The new Alexa 35 that just came out, that's a $900,000 camera or whatever. It's all has film emulations, or Fujifilm has film emulation options. Everything is going from backwards to forward.
Yeah.
And things can get too incredible. That'll be with AI. Everyone will be like, yeah, AI is great and everything, but let's go back to the human element. That's going to be popular again after the AI.
Does that come in a plug-in?
Right. We were just talking about that before broadcast. And the thing is so real. It's like everything has to be back. Like you listen to a new band, listen to their influences and the influence that influences them. Then you're going to tap into the real good shit. Right. It's all about just being aware.
Well, back in the 80s, dude, I run around with a bunch of bands and everything. And they would create songs in a bedroom and have short stacks, have the freaking drum kit
raw,
and just build the song right there.
Right.
And then when they got it to where they wanted it, they reached over on the bookcase and hit a 4-track recorder that recorded the whole freaking room.
Right.
And half the daggone time, that was their demo.
Right.
That was it.
That was it.
And they would book a shit ton of shows.
Right. Quality standards and stuff have gotten to different levels based on the status quo, but it's all it goes back to that. And it's a great thing to think about art. Okay. Here's an analogy that I follow for everything I do. Okay. It all comes back to painting. Started from that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first off, you have to have a canvas.
Exactly.
Most important thing. Canvas could be anything. Then you have to apply gesso to it. What is gesso? Gesso is an element that it enables the colors to adhere to the canvas better. Got to lay down a layer of that. Then you have this palette of colors. Every color has a certain element. There's a color scheme that you're going for. So then you think about the colors that you have. But then you look at all these different colors. You have to know what they are at first. You learn the colors. Then you have to think about how you blend the colors. The colors have to blend together a certain way to create hues, to create different variations of color. Then you apply the color to the canvas. Now you have to apply the color to the canvas using big globs to fill in certain areas, or just fill the background color first. Then you build on top of that.
Yeah.
Then you build layers, and then each layer has its own purpose. And then by the end of it, you're adding fine details, icings on the cake.
The little leaves.
Little leaves. For me, a song, when I learn a song, I learn like a producer would have put it together in the studio. I learn the parts because I know they worked so hard and made that song famous for a reason, because of those parts. They're very specific. Either it's a build up from the pre-chorus to the chorus and like a simple ba-dum boom or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, but best example is like comfortably numb, da da boom, bap boom. I have become comfortably numb. Like just that little drum part is so significant to that whole song.
Oh yeah.
Besides the solo, of course. Anyway, then I learned to put the pieces together like I would in that analogy, or with the building blocks of a video. Like you start from foundationary. It's all about the story. It's about the emotional aspect of what you're trying to get.
Oh yeah.
across. If I'm taking a photo, I want to say a story with that one picture. And you look about those principles, and you look about how you build things and how you create things. It all has to be with substance. Once you bypass any of those steps, or you ignore the purpose of what you're putting out, ultimately, you're missing the point. You're not going to be as effective.
Yeah.
And that's been proven in so many different ways by everyone's thousands of millions of YouTube videos. You're connecting. You're connecting with a human at the end of the day. And you're learning and educating, you're showing value, and you're doing things of substance. But then there's the opposite, where it's no substance at all. And it's just pure novelty.
Yeah, and it's 15 seconds, and it's got 3 billion views.
Right. But it does not last. I did a TikTok recently, and I'll show you like this is my view of it, okay? I wanted to prove that I can kind of do it. I didn't get like millions, but I got like 7,000.
Yeah.
Hot button topics. Things that are of the now, and then you comment publicly and you tag them, you're going to get some people looking at you.
Yeah.
Like the Bonnie Raitt thing at the Grammys, where no one knew who Bonnie Raitt was, or some people were like, someone just said, I don't know this Bonnie Raitt chick, and she won what she didn't deserve. Like, what? You don't know who Bonnie Raitt is? My ass. So what I did is I went on TikTok and I said, like, knock, 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 McFly, don't you know who Bonnie Raitt is? She's like, and I did this video about like, educating. Hello, McFly. Bonnie Raitt's been around for a long time. She has way more influence in history. Well, it's debatable. And Taylor Swift, of course, she's like the biggest thing now. But the thing is, like, there would be no Taylor Swift. There would be no like this person if it wasn't for that. Also, Tina Turner. So I did 2 videos of like, Tina Turner passed away. You guys don't know who you lost. This Tina Turner was a big influence. And my whole TikTok was all about educating. Like, you got to know who these people are.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a hot button topic, and it will happen in the now. And then that's what people try to, if you look at like, I don't know, the fly that went on Mike Pence's head, for instance, everyone was like, I think I was one of the
I don't understand the whole focal point of that. It was just a freaking fly,
okay,
man.
but here's what I'm getting at with it. Not to open up a can of worms about that. I didn't mention his name. It's like opening up. No, the whole point is like you're watching something happen in real time, and you got to be on the phone in like a millisecond to make the first post about it.
Yeah.
And then you've topped, and then next thing you know, everyone's copying that, and it becomes a thing. And it takes the biggest name with the biggest voice to really get people's really attention drawn towards it. And then that's what you do, is like that's the world we live in now.
Yeah.
And then after it just goes away, and then it's like a fart in the wind, just boom.
Yeah.
It smells, but and you remember it, but it's over. Anything is, that's where we're at, and that's how it is. Unfortunately, we've made the monster that we've created, and we just have to live with it. But anyway, point being, we always, at the end of the day, the dust settles, we go back to the thing of substance. And then that thing of substance is what we really be influenced by and really carry on to the next level.
Yeah, and that's something I wanted to do with the show.
Right.
I wanted to have substance.
And you do.
And
until you lost all credibility when you had me on.
Yeah, well, you take chances and you have fun. It's all about fun, the way I look at it. But my daughter asked me one day, she's like, have you put your show on TikTok yet? And I'm like, no, I have no clue. I'm 57. I researched enough to get this part done. This is taking up a lot of time.
And TikTok will actually be faster, it will help you even faster than you.
Well, I gave her permission.
Yeah.
She hooked it up for me.
Nice.
And I think it was like 2 days. I had over 500 and something views per video that she put up.
Right.
And the only thing she's doing is taking excerpts of my show and putting it up there.
5 seconds, 10 seconds, all you need.
I don't know how many seconds it is, but I think one of them's like a minute or something.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what?
You'll be on there, trust me.
Well, thank you. Factual, like hopefully little nuggets of information will make it on there. Little nuggets of information is what we look. In 2 seconds, you have to be drawn in. You know, that's just the way it is. And with TikTok, it's all about that. That's what you're doing. You're getting like something. It has to be like written out with. You have to do the captions. You have to have that. That's part. You have to do that now. And it's all about useful bits of information that someone can either take from. And it doesn't take a lot. Like I do like 3 minute, 2 minute videos with like 100 gigs worth of footage and stuff. And then that one little clip will be the one that makes more noise in my big video. But as an art piece, I have to complete it.
Now on like with the band, with the light show and everything, have you put any of that on TikTok?
Yeah. So with very little, you know, people don't want to know about the end product. They want to know about the process.
See, that's
which I don't have on there, which is why I don't have a big TikTok account.
I don't understand that.
Okay. So I know why. Okay. And I haven't done it. I don't know why, but I basically,
you need to do a TikTok on why.
Well, if I were to, okay, here's a reality check for everyone. I am so pleased and proud of the end results.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. And I put those on there and people like that, sure. But I know for a fact what's really going to get people's attention is how I did it.
Yeah.
The process in which I did it. I documented it. I haven't put it out there. I'm going to save that till later. I'm actually.
Well, I mean, just listening to the process that you went through with the dimensions and doing this and figuring out the angles and all that other stuff.
That's what
that was really fascinating to me because I'm a builder.
Right. People are builders.
Yeah.
They want to see the process. How did you do it? And there's no secret out there. I mean, I got a lot of like there's a guy in the UK and he basically gave me a lot of elements for my show. Mm-hmm. And he is a super great guy. And let me tell you, he helped me like really put this together. And I reached out to him and I'm going to, break this rule of like, I'm going to make sure I got his name right. So,
oh no, go ahead.
Point being is he was a very gracious guy. He's in the United Kingdom. Okay. This guy in the United Kingdom is super sweet dude. He's been great help and he is like a champion of carrying on the music. Okay. And carrying on the music is the primary goal and what we're all doing with these tribute bands.
Yeah.
And he has been incredibly influential and he didn't have to. He sent me like a thumb drive full of a lot of elements to say, hey man, maybe you might be able to pull from this. And I'm like, well, thank you. You didn't have to do that, but he did that because he saw that I was passionate about it and he saw that he was incredibly, just giving.
Yeah.
And
that's something I always wondered because with their original Pink Floyd, I always wanted to ask somebody, what in the hell made you think to put a pig flying above the crowd? You know what I mean? And dude, nobody was doing that. Nobody. And then they done that. And it was just like the crowd went ape, man.
Right. And the thing is like those things, Anthony Crowder is his name.
Yeah.
He changed his profile pic. I was like, where can I find this thing? Anthony, thank you, by the way. So Roger, like the pig came from the Animals tour. Mm-hmm. Okay. The pig flew above the battery power station in London. And that was the whole concept of that was the pigs and dogs of the industry. I mean, Roger had like a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Right. And he was coming up with analogies and iconic images and things, and the pig was one of them. And that pig flying above the battery power station actually lost control and had to be shot down in a meadow. Yeah, so that was a whole ordeal. There's a whole story behind that if you look up at the pig and
a wild pig.
Yeah, and that's part of Pink Floyd's allure. That's why like the Dark Side of the Moon, the Wizard of Oz is part of the allure, which is part of the history, which is why it's applicable.
Yeah,
and that pig is an applicable part of it. And that pig is important. And in Roger Waters' last tour, he has a sheep and a pig flying around, and that's become part of Pink Floyd, you know?
Yeah. It's all, ever since it started,
Right.
you know?
Or the plane coming through, you know, in the wall. There's all these iconic imagery. And that's what's great about Pink Floyd too, is like, it didn't just hit you from a visceral, euphoric element of making you feel a certain way from the music and how impactful it was and insightful and so much substance, but imagery and the way that the images from Gerald Scarfe and Storm Thorgerson and what they put out in those albums was just like so part of the experience. And what that's taught for the generations to come, especially with Kiss and the spectacle and all these things, is how visually important things have to be, audibly, and the message that gets through. Roger built a wall around him, spat on a guy, because when Dark Side of the Moon came out, it turned him into this, like, look at this audience we have now. They're all like a bunch of dickheads, and they're yelling and screaming at us, and they're not getting it. And what are we doing this for? I'm going to build a wall around me, and I'm going to go in. That's why he built a wall. You know, he was influenced by that. But that was like commercial aspects, you know. Once Dark Side hit, it just, you know, it all went to a whole different degree.
You know, and because we were talking, you know, you bring up Tina Turner and the whole concept of the wall and the movie and everything else. It reminds me of The Who.
Yeah. Quadrophenia.
With Tommy.
Yeah.
And I loved that show too. And the whole thing I got out of the whole movie, the album and everything was, yeah, you can talk, you can see, you can hear, but there's times you just want to shut down, man.
Right.
Just get away from everybody.
Right. Tommy was a great, the Who were a huge influence me. Quadrophenia was still one of my favorite albums of all time. And Tommy, the theme, David, with all this, which is so important, I think, for your viewers to hear, is there's so much example of ways to live, ways to express yourself, ways to make things become a reality and be the things that drive you, to do the things that you love, to have to ignore the actual just
the
bullshit and bullshit. I mean, we're both real people, right? There's real people out there listening to this. They all relate to real.
Yeah.
I've whatever the hell I do, I want it to be real. I don't want it to be contrived. I don't want it to be bullshit. I want it to be something that is relatable. And we all are fucking driven by that. And we have examples we can pull from, and things that we ignore, and things that give us power and just vigor to do to do things. Not sit around, not be lazy, not be unproductive, but be driven.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be something we always find or have influence by, that our job is to just be passionate and just say the things. Don't preach, don't do anything, but just talk about it.
Oh yeah.
And that's what we're doing today.
Well, that's what I liked about Tina Turner, man. I mean, that lady come through a bunch of bullshit.
Oh, she's one of my favorite movies of all time, by the way, is The Shawshank Redemption. You know why? Andy Dufresne crawled through a river of shit to come out clean on the other side. What does that mean? Tina Turner crawled through her river of shit to come out clean on the other side. We crawled through our rivers of shit to come out clean on the other side. If you have not watched that movie, watch it. It's really influential. It's long as hell, but you don't care because it's that good.
Oh yeah, it is.
But that analogy I use all the time, because it's just you got to crawl. I mean, you're not going to live until you live, and you have to go through shit to live.
Oh yeah.
Okay. A lot of people have gone through some horrific things. You think you're bad. Someone will say, hold my beer, you know?
Oh yeah.
And then you think about that, and you think about the things you gripe and bitch about. I mean, I love to gripe and bitch. Okay. We do it. We're all normal. I mean, I've been so more vocal lately than I ever have my whole life, because I've tapped into, I'm done. The gloves are off.
Well, see, when you get older,
that's all age and experience. Yeah.
And then you get to that level where, fuck you, I'm saying what I want to say, man.
And what's horrible is a lot of people that have really bad intentions do that as well. And that's where it gets really, really nasty.
Oh yeah. It gets crazy.
Okay. But we all have vehicles. Like when we grew up, we had TV, we had film, we had print, we had radio.
Yeah.
And then now you have 70,000 different forms of media that you're using and people are using as springboards to say some most horrific things that is like really shaping the way that this society has become.
Oh yeah.
And so it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So we just got to take our aspects of doing it and do it the best way we can with the best intentions.
Oh yeah. Cause I mean, yeah, that's something that's, I think is one reason why podcasting is growing so big as it is, because
everyone can do it too.
Anybody can do it. Right. And you can build basically your own radio station in your house.
Right. Thank you, Howard Stern.
Exactly.
If terrestrial radio did not exist, there wouldn't be a Sirius XM. If Sirius XM did not exist, there would not be podcasts. It's an evolution, but we have to pay homage to the evolution, right? The fact that we all have ways of becoming influential with our microphones and our faces. And,
I know.
You know, it's great, but we know that it's the reality. Everyone's doing it, sure, but there can be people doing it right. There could be people doing it wrong. It's subjective. Everything art is subjective, but if you have a you know,
it's what you create. I mean, you know, and there's more creators out there than what people think there is.
Right.
Everybody has a creative gene. It's just how you use it.
True. And then we've turned it into phrases like influencers and stuff like that. Yeah. But the thing is, guys, influencers, you guys are influencers. Stop giving yourself so much gravitas. All right, you're influencer, sure. You just do what you love and shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You know.
Like, the influence thing has become a thing. We have to put things in boxes. Okay, that's just reality.
Well, that's what blew me away, because my daughter showed me something where this guy was, it was a girl, and she was just opening boxes,
right,
in front of a camera,
right,
and shit ton of freaking views.
Bro, it's not just about opening boxes. It's about sensory things. So David, there are TikToks and content out there of literally squishing slime.
Yeah.
Or like painting. I did a video with my friend Ricky Watts. Love you, Ricky. He has made a name for himself as a mural artist. And he does his version of what he does that started back in the days of graffiti art.
Yeah.
Where it was like, fuck you for doing graffiti, but look at what beautiful thing that Ricky's doing. And he's taken that and run with it. And that's him painting.
Yeah.
The series of putting paint onto a canvas is enough for people to really keep, or petting a cat and booping them on the face.
Yeah.
You know, boop. That video.
Oh yeah.
I'm a sucker for ringneck parrots and just talking cute. I'm a sucker for squishing slime. I actually bought slime and squished it, and like that is satisfying. It's a sensory thing.
Yeah, it's soothing and
or ASMR or that kind of whispering is so enticing for someone, and it's turning someone on right now. So I'm gonna stop. Okay, so you got those elements, right? So you have that like it's all sensory stuff. It's human things, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny that those will be more impactful than say my Pink Floyd show.
It's kind of weird though, man. I mean, it just the things. I had a conversation with a guy at work, man, and he was telling me, he's like, "Dude, I don't get it," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
But you do get it though.
And he said, "I've seen a thing on YouTube where this girl, only thing she does is show her feet, and she's made like $3 million on a OnlyFans account." And I'm like,
"Oh, bro, she's sold bath water from her fucking bath and sold that and made millions." Yeah, there's.
Well, see, I remember back in the
Alex Earl, by the way, look her up.
Yeah, I mean, it used to in the back of Hustler magazine, in the very back, you could buy women's panties, you know, for a certain person wore them, you know.
I only say on the podcast on the Earth for this loose. I'm like, start an OnlyFans with just your feet. And just like you'll be fine. You know, you'll make some money. Everyone wants to make a little bit of money, a little quick cash, you know.
Well, it just amazes him. The whole point was, it just amazes me of different things that appeal to different people.
I know.
You know,
audience for everything.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just, there's something for everybody out here.
There really is. And it's the world we live in.
It's a big world.
Yeah. You know, and that's another thing too. It leads it to like, you know, you can analyze to death things and you're not going to really understand, but you know, it's hit a chord and you know, it's out there, you know, it's a thing. You know what I mean? There's a thing for everything. Right?
Oh yeah.
And then you just kind of go, okay, well, you don't have to do that. You know, it still exists.
Yeah.
But then some people are smart. Every wave of technology, you know, we're in the AI revolution and a lot of people are scared of it. Quite frankly, there are going to be some horrible things that's going to happen.
Oh yeah, it's going to.
Like in scammer world, for instance, I mean, you're either looking from Nigerian scammers that like take over like, Facebook and Instagram, or you got Indian scammers that call you with the boop, you know, hello, you know, and you hear them and you're like, you can't help but like go there if you've been scammed a bunch of times. And,
right.
you know, poor guys, unfortunately, for the whole, you know, world of India and the world of Nigeria, they only represent a small portion of it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they're the ones that are responsible for this stuff. And I mean, it's like true. I don't say that as like to segregate or anything, but point being is they have these aspects of influence and reality of what it is. Bad things are going to be done with the technology. So AI is going to be taken from some bad stuff, but don't knock the technology, just knock the fact that it's like, you know, people are going to do it. So there's got to be regulations. There's going to be, you know, the world's going to be, there's going to be some control there somewhere, maybe debatable, you know, but it's going to happen. You know? And then you're going to go, how do I use that? And you got to think about this. You have, on the cusp of Facebook, on the cusp of Apple with the iPhone, with all these different things, right? You have these things that are happening and you got to capitalize on the growth of that.
Yeah.
How are you going to use it? How are you going to capitalize on that? That's what you got to be thinking of. The future jobs that don't even exist yet.
Yeah.
And the expertise that you're going to have, they're going to be, you know, valuable to somebody.
Well, that's something that I've noticed. I set up my Facebook page, and then I set up the David Bradley Show Facebook page. I'm getting messages through Messenger of pictures of women. They're hitting me up.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, how are you doing? All this stuff. And I know it's not a real person.
Oh, yeah.
I know because of the way the things are text, the way the things are sent over. I can reply to something just to mess with them because I love messing with people.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah. Look at a YouTuber called Pleasant Green. He teaches you a lot about this process.
Yeah. And I know it's AI.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Oh, they're using AI now for sure.
You know,
And the deep fake is a thing too, you know.
And then you get into a little bit of a conversation with them and everything. And the next thing you know, I don't have enough money to go to the grocery store. Can you send me some?
Right. Okay. So, you know, in the dating world, there's a thing called shuzupan. And what does that mean? Shuzupan means fattening of the pig. It started in China and it became rampant there. And then it started to trickle into US. What it is if you're on a dating app and you're talking with a girl, very beautiful girl. If you can use Google image search to your advantage, by the way, if you're out there, if you think you know, take the picture, put it in reverse Google images and see what comes up. There's a girl of like an airplane. Her name's Mary, but she's used as like another name.
Yeah.
Right. And and like she hit me up and like I talk and I'm like, I'm single. So I'm like going through this stuff.
Yeah.
And then the fattening of the pig is if you don't know better, you'll be tricked into thinking that they're real, and they'll actually FaceTime you, which is crazy, but they won't show you their environment. And there's some things, and they trick you to think that they're real over time. It's called fattening of the pig. Over time, it could be months or a year even.
Yeah.
And if you're falling victim, you think you know this person, eventually they'll put you into cryptocurrency or say that they need money. It's called fattening of the pig or shuzupan. So that's the translation. And they're all over dating apps, and there's all over. So without going into a rabbit hole of all this scam stuff, okay. I have a thing with that, obviously, because I was taken.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I was taken for a lot of money in 2016 from a gift card scam.
Yeah.
I fell victim to that. I did that like an idiot. Okay, but I learned. Now we have so many scam baiters like Scammer Payback, guy named Pierogi. Thank you, dude, for
Pierogi is awesome, man.
Kick their ass. You know,
I watched that show. I watched one of them to where he was actually had the guy and was watching him through his own freaking camera, man.
Yeah. He's not the only one.
And telling him, you know, well, I know what you're wearing, you know, and all this other shit. I mean,
they were exactly.
He was blowing their minds.
Building on the 4th floor over in New Delhi or something like that.
And dude on the camera is like freaking out. Oh my God. You know?
Then they start to insult them. And then it calls them a mother chode, which is like, you know, translation. And then, so these scam baiters are out there making tons of money with their YouTube videos, but they're doing it for a good cause. cause.
Oh yeah.
Like huge cause. And I'm all about it. I watch them, I champion, I applaud, donate, whatever it takes. Like get those scammers, kick their ass, mess with them. You're not going to stop them, but at least try.
I got in an argument one time with a scammer.
You actually entertained it?
I entertained it. I played with him.
One message me, like FaceTime me and actually confessed to me. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell me your story.
So he was messaging me under the disguise of a woman. And I stopped him and I said, because he asked me, he said, how's the wife and kids? And I'm like, you asked this 5 messages ago. And he's like,
he's bored. He's not keeping track.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you're not from here.
Yeah.
And he was messaging back and forth. And I said, dude, why don't you use your talents? And instead of scamming people, why don't you go after pedophiles?
Right.
Why don't you go after somebody? Why don't you become a pierogi yourself?
Right.
Because he's definitely making more damn money than you.
They watch his videos. They know. And he knows that they watch their videos.
And I knew it was him because as soon as I'd said that, he come back with, fuck pierogi.
Right. See, I was on Instagram and I actually had a guy and this is why I know from Nigerians because I watch Pleasant Green and all these guys. But anyway, he actually messaged me and said, listen, I'm stuck here. I want to get out. I want, and he's basically confessing like I was trying to get out of Nigeria. I want to, get somewhere where I can actually make a living for myself or something.
Yeah.
And he actually would confess to me and he was talking to me and I can see him in pure view where he was out in daylight. He had thing on his head. He was talking, and so these guys are out there doing it, but without going in too much in the scammer world, going back to influence and why passion is important and all these things.
Oh, the good stuff
is for today. So these guys exist. They're out there. We're educated now about what they're doing. We just have to be aware, and you just got to keep your passwords. Get a VPN. There's a company called Guardio. There's different VPNs and things you can get to help protect you. So that those exist as well. Get those. Guardio's a good one. I hear. I'm trying actually that next coming up soon. But anyway.
Yeah, and look, all you artists out there that are they're writing their songs and they're putting their stuff on their computer and all this stuff. Protect your ass.
Have to.
You've got to protect your ass.
I did a corporate event with a company. It was called Seven Figures, and we had some guys from the FBI come in as guest speakers, and it was all about cybersecurity. And all these big, huge companies are taking these new services of cybersecurity and businesses that offer it very seriously because they're making millions and they have to protect it.
Yeah,
and we're making hundreds or tens. And you just got to protect that too. It could be thousands of millions, doesn't matter. But you got to, this technology exists, use it. And it's like, that's equally as important as the content you're putting out there.
Oh yeah. Cause I mean, I think I made $5 the other day.
Protect that $5. No matter what, protect that $5.
You got to protect yourself. You got to cover your ass.
Right. There's so many great things. David, man, I appreciate you bringing me on. There's so much more I can go on.
I know, but I'm sitting here writing down June 19th.
So June 19th?
Yeah.
What is that?
That's a Franklin, isn't it?
No, August 19th.
August 19th.
Yeah,
I thought it was June 19th.
So if you want to visit and find out information about my Pink Floyd project, Domine, for the love of Pink Floyd, because the love of Pink Floyd what drove this to be a reality.
Now, what Domine, is that like a little check mark above the E?
No, that's actually just how it's spelled, Domine.
Okay.
And Domine means lords in Latin, taken from Australian Piper of the Gates of Dawn from the song Astronomy Domine, which is in the second set. The second set has to do with Shine On Your Crazy Diamond, then Astronomy Domine, which is kind of like the progression of what Pulse did. I'm kind of following the archetype of what's big. Nothing all exists out there. I'm just doing my version of it. And then we go into Have a Cigar, Wish You Were Here, then The Wall, In the Flesh, The Thin Ice, Happiest Days into Another Brick, Mother, Empty Spaces into What Shall We Do Now? Of course, that's in there. And then Young, Lust, Comfortably Numb, and Run Like Hell. NashvillePinkFloyd.com, MusicCityPinkFloyd.com, DomineFloyd.com is where you can see our upcoming dates.
And I'm going to check out all of it.
Oh, I can't wait for you to be there. I have big plans for this whole thing, and utilizing the best of the laser technologies and the best of everything that's out there in Pink Floyd land. I'm going to put in this. I'm only limited by money, and money will come. And it's already kind of showing that's going to come, and you got to fuel it somehow. There'll be merch coming out. There'll be all sorts of stuff I plan to do with this. My passions that I have in my brain and my body, I will put my 100% in, and everything else I will put 100% in. But the fact that I own my own thing, and here's a tip for anyone that has that's out there: you got to gain something from this podcast if you listen to the whole thing, okay? And this is what I wanted to give you, and this is what I think is important. There's a lot of ups and downs in this business.
Oh yeah.
In entertainment, when you do it, it's par for the course. You have to live. You have to go through it. Have something that is yours.
Oh yeah.
You own. That is your proprietary thing that cannot be taken away from you. Put your eggs in that basket. Do things, but don't like I had to because of necessity. Like necessity drives everything. You do it because you have to, because it's there. When you've had enough, like, I hate this, don't get bitter, don't get pissed. Get pissed, but in the right way, and put it towards the things that you're passionate about.
And give you that drive.
Right.
Pissed.
Now I'm like all about doing the things I love. Like my Bad Religion tribute, I'm doing because I love. Domine, I'm doing it because I love it.
Yeah.
I'm in Firepower because I love those songs. I love the guys in it. I'm Tattered Sons. We're doing some great things. You've had the guys on here.
Oh yeah.
Tim, Joe, JW,
that other dude,
JW and Derek, all those guys are incredible people. We're doing some great things with that. We're going to be at just look for Tattered Sons and follow what we got going on. I'm blanking on everything right now, but anyway,
it's okay.
We're playing Saturday.
I blank on a lot of stuff, and then I tell people, and then next thing you know, I'm getting comments on what I blanked on.
Right. Anyway, point being is Tattered Sons. We're the thing about original rock bands, and I'll go back to this. I was in an original rock band called Future Villains, which we were in LA doing the scene of the. We played the.
Whiskey,
Viper Room, Whiskey, Roxy, all those places. And I remember being a part of that band, and we were all about rock. And rock is like, you're in a rock band, you have to do either merch to make money or be a part of an opening act and go on tour. They ended up doing a tour for Steel Panther, which at the time, before they turned to Steel Panther, was Metal Skull. Before that was something with the Cats. Ray Luzier was in that. Shout out to Ray Luzier for it was one of his first gigs.
I got to say this, and I mean it with all my heart. Any of the guys from Steel Panther wants to sit at my fucking table, bring your butt on.
Tyson, Leslie, call those guys right now immediately. Tyson I can go on a whole story about Tyson. Tyson, love you, man. He started Rare Hair. He saw that through. He's driven just the same stuff that I'm driven by.
Yeah.
He started this thing called Rare Hair. I'm gonna give you a plug, dude, because you're doing it. On Monday, there's a Rare Hair at Basement East.
No shit.
Yeah, it's called. It's all about ballads, monster rock ballads.
Yeah.
And then an ode to Broadway guys. And he's been, when we both came to town at this right time, 2014, when there was One Pedal Tavern, and there was still places that existed that were historic, that weren't, demolished. And then he went to a thing called Loud Jams, and then he started his own thing about metal, which was called Rare Hair. And then he built that thing to like one of the biggest influential things in Nashville. And because of him, so props to him. Me and him are cut from the same cloth in that respect, and we're both driven people. And I
think he was at Rockin' Pod too.
Yes, he was.
I didn't see him though.
He's a great dude. He's got the best heart, and he means the best. And I gotta hand it to Tyson. And we've been friends for a long time now, and I'm happy for him. And I do whatever I can. Right now, I'm shooting content for him whenever I can. We're probably gonna do like a documentary at some point.
Yeah, well, we're going to have some things to talk about too.
We have a lot.
That. Oh yeah.
Anyway, but what we're talking about, so a lot of things. I've got a lot of things on my plate, but it's all things I want to do. And guess what? I can and I will, and I will do it with the best intentions. My photography work, I'm very grateful. I did a show called Drummer Duel yesterday. I was a prize. I was a fucking prize. Like the guy that won gets a photo package from me. I'm like, I'm the prize. Get the hell out of here, right? Yeah. And Daru, thanks to Daru Jones for my first ever cover of Modern Drummer magazine, March of 2023.
Awesome.
And he championed me for that.
Yeah.
He actually went to bat for me and said, use Mark's photo.
Yeah.
Okay. Use Mark's photo. And let me tell you this, guys, gravitas is gravitas and financial is financial. You know, I didn't get paid nothing for the cover of Modern Drummer magazine. Okay. And I say that because I want you guys to know I'm not about the money per se. I am because I need it, but
we all need it.
Recognition and the gravitas is really great.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have a piece of art that it was out there in the biggest form possible. Mm-hmm. You did, and you can champion yourself behind and go, you did that? That means everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it trumps any amount of money. It doesn't matter.
It's self-accomplishments, man.
Yes.
I love self-accomplishments.
Right. Yeah. I did a photo shoot with Alice Cooper and Desmond Child, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
They've never had a photo shoot together their whole careers. I did that. That to me is worth every penny.
Oh, yeah.
Did I get paid a lot for it? No. Does it matter? No.
Did you have fun?
I had a fucking blast.
Exactly.
So real, to the point, not messing around, not trying to blow things up to the point where they're like, you know, unobtainable. They are obtainable, and they're all who you know, who knows you, and your art will stand. You just got to do quality. Yeah. Quality. Quantity with quality. Don't do the opposite. Don't do lack of quality and do multiple quantity. That sucks. Do things right. You're doing this right. I applaud you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, for one. Two, for doing this in the most professional manner possible and making me feel comfortable, and everything that you've done with this. Anyone that you listen to this and want to be a part of this and get to consider yourself very, very lucky. And I consider myself lucky to be here. And I
appreciate that. I appreciate it. Not a problem at all. I enjoyed having you on the show. I mean, this is just, I've had a lot of fun. We're going to talk more off there.
We got to.
We got to.
Dude, it's
all right, y'all.
Thanks for listening to me blabber for however long you're going to.
Oh, hell, it was informative. I learned a lot of good stuff, and I hope some people learn some more good stuff about Pink Floyd, man.
So Pink Floyd will always be an influence. There's a photographer, actually Tim's daughter, Kiri, came to see to take photos. And a 15-year-old photographer named Bo, by the way, who took some of our shots. He's 15. He's never had a professional shoot before.
Yeah.
And I said, you have to be paid at least $500 for your photo shoots. You're that good.
Yeah.
And he did his first wedding.
Amazing.
He's getting paid for it. Like, how cool is that?
That is
Carrie
awesome.
will always know Pink Floyd after my show. That's what we do it for.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the fucking payout right there.
Oh, yeah.
Like the influence and love of a thing that you walk away from after you experience it and you carry on with yourself from here on out. That's the stuff that matters. That's the stuff that makes me excited.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we're all about that. We want excitement in our lives.
I love handing on to the younger generation and teaching them stuff and learning stuff.
It's our job.
Yeah.
It's our duty.
That's what our forefathers did.
Right. They got it from somewhere. We have to do the same.
Exactly.
We have responsibility. We got to do it with grace, class, and being real, and don't sugarcoat things. And man, thank you. And I also want to do a quick plug too. My videography stuff.
You know that camera right there?
So you can follow.
Not that camera, this camera.
Oh, shit. What do I know? That camera right there in front of my face. Allee Visuals is my website. You can find me on social media at alleevisuals.com. Allee, like Muhammad Ali, but spelled differently. That's my name, Mark Allee. alleevisuals.com. Domine Floyd, Nashville Pink Floyd is the best way to remember. NashvillePinkFloyd.com. And tatteredsons.band. That's another one. Firepower.band, whatever it is. I'm on social media. Just Google my name. I don't know. David, thank you for having me on.
I appreciate it, man. It's been a blast. All right, y'all. We're going to get out of here. Remember, like, share, subscribe. It's all about 3 little things you can do that cost you no money.
Just do it.
But it helps out all these bands.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just like Nike, just do it.
Give back.
It's not about the damn shoe. Just do it.
Give back by hitting a button. Don't say smash, by the way. Stop saying smash the like button.
I've never heard it. I never understood
so dumb.
that.
Smash the like button. Smash the like button.
Yeah, no.
Just press the fucking like button.
Like, share, follow, subscribe.
David Bradley.
We'll see y'all later.
Thank you.
Toodaloo.